What's up guys, and today we're going to be looking at the best tank designs for HOI4. This is updated to 1.15 point whatever, so the German update, German DLC. And pretty much, let's just get right into the explanation. So the first thing I want to kind of explain to an extent is stats. Which stats to balance, what's good, what's bad, and everything. So to put it simply, the two most important stats you're going to be looking at is reliability and breakthrough. So I would easily sacrifice a little bit of soft attack for increased reliability, or a little bit of armor or piercing for more breakthrough. But I wouldn't vice versa sacrifice reliability for soft attack or anything like that. So a lot of it is intuition. Few will get that. Few will get what I'm just saying right there, and it's really funny. So yeah, it's pretty much intuition when it comes to balancing stuff, but a good rule of thumb is this and this #1 priority. So we're gonna go through the modules now. Firstly is the turret. So unless you're doing something very specific like recon or flame tanks, you don't want to do one-man turret. You also don't want to do 3-man turret, because for almost everything, it decreases your speed and increases production cost for barely any extra breakthrough. So 2-man turret is almost always the best way to go. For your gun, this entirely depends on what you're doing. So obviously if you're making flamethrowers, you do this. When you're making recon, usually you do heavy machine gun because it's the cheapest, because your recon doesn't need stats, and I'll show why later. For your medium tank, you have a choice of all of these guns and all the small guns, but pretty much stuff like anti-air, high velo cannons are like almost completely useless. So it's pretty much a situational thing, whether you want to do medium cannons or medium howitzers. And lastly, there's heavy armaments, which is for heavy tanks. And yet again, high velo is useless. And heavy howitzers are also pretty useless because you get them so late. So pretty much your choice is between heavy cannon 1 and heavy cannon 2, because you also get advanced heavy cannon 3 very late. So it's also very situational. So next we have special features. It's pretty much just like okay to ignore the secondary turret, because small cannon removes reliability, which you don't want at all. And heavy machine gun only increases soft attack, which you'll get from your main cannon. You don't need soft attack, you need breakthrough. So secondly, we'll go to radios. Radio 1 is really good. Radio 2 is okay, but it's not ever worth getting Radio 3 because the production cost increase is not worth it for the amount of breakthrough and I guess defense that you get. In special modules, we have stuff like additional machine guns, which as you can see increases soft attack by 1, which is pretty much useless, and defense, which is completely useless because you shouldn't be using tanks for defense. Armor skirts, which is really good, low production cost and increases your armor and breakthrough. Autoloader, it's okay, it does increase a lot of your breakthrough a lot, but it also increases production cost quite a lot, and it's a very late research. Fuel drum, not really that good because it decreases your speed. You wouldn't ever put it in your main tank, but it's good in some specialized tanks that I'm going to show. Extra ammunition storage, this is kind of like a balancing act because it's complete, it's cheap, it doesn't cost any production, you get breakthrough from it, but you lose reliability. Sloped armor, this one is one of the most amazing modules ever, because of the amount of armor you get isn't like a static number. You're not just getting +5 armor. It's based on how much armor you already have. So the higher your armor, the more you get from sloped armor. And armor is really good because you can't get pierced, and that's yeah. Smoke launchers, also really good. It's pretty much just like extra ammo, except you don't lose reliability because it barely costs anything. Squeeze bore adapter is fine, but you know, it's meh. And wet ammunition storage, very good, amazing almost, because of the reliability increase. So down here we have a bunch of suspensions. It's pretty much between boogie, because it's like no production cost increase, interleave for the breakthrough and torsion buff for the reliability. For armor, there's no reason to do cost because while you do get a lot of armor from it, it's the same as welded, but you get less breakthrough for 2% more hardness, which pretty much means nothing. And riveted's just pretty much useless because it's not the most stats, so you would always just do welded. And lastly, the engine, you have a choice pretty much between these 3 engines, and there's no reason to ever switch off gasoline unless your reliability is super low for some reason, in which case you would do diesel. And lastly, we have engine and armor clicks, both of which are situational. Now we're going to get into the actual designs. So as you can see here, I only have heavy and medium designs for the main tank, and then I have like recon and flame designs for the light tank. This is because light tanks are just, they don't cost enough, so there's no reason to make them basically. So we're just going to start from bottom to top because this is early, which is what you'll be doing pretty much at game start, not like start, but pretty close to game start. So we have a 2-man turret, obviously, for the breakthrough, a medium cannon 1, which is the second upgrade in anti-tank right here. So it's pretty early in the game. Sloped armor, because you get it at the start of the game. This, and this. You get every single one of these modules at the start of the game. Also, engine 4s, yet again, you get at the start of the game. So this is kind of the perfect tank because this is an amazing gun. It barely slows your tank down. You get a lot of breakthrough from it. It's got a nice balance of hard and soft attack because even though I said it's not the most important stats, they are good stats to have. It barely decreases your reliability, and it's just all around cheap. Every other thing here is self-explanatory. This is to keep your reliability up. I'll put a picture right now. Basically, it's a graph showing reliability, and if you can't really like understand what it's showing, pretty much you want a reliability to be as close to 80% or above as possible. So going a bit under, like 74.8 here, isn't too bad, but yeah, you want it to get higher. Higher is always better. So we don't do interleaved because while the breakthrough is nice, we kind of do need the reliability. So we do torsion, welded armor, obviously for the breakthrough and the armor, gasoline, and we just do 4 engine clicks because it's just the day one thing, and because we also don't want our reliability to go too low, because as we keep increasing, our reliability gets lower and lower, which we don't want. So that is the meta medium tank. I've played many multiplayer games, by the way, and these are the tanks. I've asked many people, you know, people that are professionals in the community, like what's a good tank, and then this is the tank I get sent to me. Now we're on to the heavy tank. We have a 2-man turret yet again. For the same reason, it's a little bit of a breakthrough increase for way less speed and a production cost increase, which just isn't worth it. Heavy cannon 1. So what's really good about heavy tanks is you research them a lot earlier than medium cannons, and you start, even without researching anti-tank, you start with heavy cannon 1s for some reason. Unlike medium tanks, which you will probably get by like late 37 or 38, with that medium cannon, this one, for most countries, especially majors, they start with basic heavy tank chassis, and they can quite literally start doing this day one. So it's pretty much almost the exact same. We put this module here instead because out of everything, we just want a cheap stat increase because we're not able to put this on here because our reliability will be too low, and smoke launchers just aren't worth it on heavy tanks, sorry. So now we move up to the late, medium, and late heavy meta tanks. So as you can see, they go from basic to improved chassis. Pretty much, it's just an upgrade of everything. So our engine and armor is higher because our reliability is so high, and we're using an improved medium cannon because it's just better in every way, and it gives you a lot more breakthrough. So we're using radios instead of the where is it? Extra ammo storage, because I mean, as you can see, it's a production cost decrease by about 2, but we lose 10 breakthrough and a lot of reliability. And as we know, we want to keep reliability as close to 80% as we can. So this is pretty much the design for the late medium. This is what you'll have for the entire game once you get it, because medium guns end at improved. There is no advanced medium cannon. So for the late meta heavy, it's pretty much the same thing, improved medium cannon. We're at 70% reliability instead of 80. This is as high as we can realistically get it, because when you make a heavy tank, armor is a lot more important. With mediums, it's just reliability and breakthrough, because medium tanks are supposed to like smash through the lines, but you're trying to make heavy tanks to be like unpierceable. So armor actually does become a bit more important, to the point where you should sacrifice maybe 10% reliability, because a heavy tank is something you should only be using in like plains tiles anyways, that have like the least amount of attrition. Pretty much everything else is the same yet again, and I mean, there's not much else to say. You can do advanced heavy cannon. It's slightly less reliability for a few more stats, but as you can see, it doesn't increase your breakthrough at all. So this is very optional and also very not recommended. So now we're going to talk about recon, and pretty much this is all you need for a recon. The only thing you would probably have to increase is speed. For example, if you're using a late medium chassis, but let's say like screw it, you don't want to do armor, so you want it to be fast, you're limited by the slowest battalion in your division. So if you have medium tanks in your division that are 8 kilometers, and then you put motorized in it, so it's 8 kilometers, but then you put this recon in it that's only 7.4 kilometers, the division will be 7.4 kilometers. So the only time you'd ever increase something would be to increase the engine to match whatever the speed of your main tank is, or the slowest battalion in your division. But other than that, there's no reason to put anything else in your recon, because you're not doing it for the stats. If I open up a division designer here, why you do light tank recon is if you hover over, you could see at the very bottom, battalion modifier, tanks and armor variance, plus 10% hard attack. So if your heavy tank, for example, has 10 hard attack, adding a light tank, every battalion, instead of having 10% or 10 hard attack, has 11 hard attack, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up. And they usually won't have 10, they'll have way more than 10. As you can see, we got 35, where is it? Yeah, so armored recon. So 35, if we put just 4 here, it's 140. And then when we add the light tank recon, it's 154. So it does in fact scale. 308, 280. But yeah, so that's why you do the cheapest light recon possible. Your flame should pretty much be the exact same as your light recon. There is something going around where you put fuel drums on your flame tanks. So of course, if you do that, I didn't upgrade my engine, but you would most likely have to upgrade your engine. There we go, 8.0, and it's over 80% reliability. So this can increase the fuel capacity, which means, let's say you're invading Russia as Germany and you don't have any stockpile, or you have 0 fuel, your tanks have fuel saved inside them still. So it's like a little stockpile of their own, and they have it individually. That's pretty much it for designs. The last thing I will talk about before we continue is tank variants. So as you can see, what tank variants do is they decrease a bunch of stuff and increase a bunch of other stuff. I mean, it's that simple, really. So tank destroyers will increase your heart attack and piercing, which are both pretty useless stats, but it will completely destroy your breakthrough. So tank destroyers are completely useless. Artillery is pretty good, especially in single player, because of the soft attack increase. It's one of the biggest increases ever, because pretty much every gun that's worth having has more soft attack than it has hard attack. Like, as you can see, the medium cannon and improved medium cannon have more soft attack than hard attack, and howitzers are obviously going to have more soft attack than hard attack. So you already have more soft attack than hard attack, and then artillery just increases the soft attack even more. So in multiplayer, I wouldn't do this, but in single player, artillery is very good. Anti-air is pretty much just useless. No one does anti-air. You don't need to do anti-air. You can just make like a bunch of like basic fighters, you know, 2 light machine guns. Just make that the entire game day 1, and that's pretty much all you'll need. So pretty much that's all there is to designing tanks. Leave suggestions if you have any fun tank designs in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video, I guess. Goodbye.